Greetings, people of Earth, and welcome back to No Man's Sky. Ironically, I was planning on doing a second episode of this. Actually, it was going to be the third episode, but the second episode got corrupted, and I got fed up and took a break for quite a while, as you can plainly see. And then right as I was getting ready to sit down and film it, they announced that it's releasing for Xbox and finally getting true multiplayer on the same day, and it's like 3 days from now. And one of my biggest hopes for that update is that it changes my planet back. Because believe it or not, as you can see here, this is not the lush tropical planet from episode 1, but they regenerated the universe after one of the last updates, and it made my planet a barren wasteland that rains acid 24/7. Right there it says, acrid planet, acid rain, sentinels are still low, so that's good. No more animals, and right there my toxic protection flips on. So it's just hazardous to be out all the time, and I hate it. So I'm hoping that with this next update, they said they're going to regen the universe again. So hopefully when they do that, it makes this place livable. If not, then I guess we're just going to abandon ship and find a new tropical planet. You can see my fancy new ship here. It kind of reminds me of the V-Wing fighter from Star Wars, which I'm all about. This is actually my third ship. I had a second one in between my original one from the first episode and this one. But that one was ugly as sin, and I didn't keep it long. This one I've been keeping way longer than I should have. I found a lot of better ships. The thing is, I don't have the blueprint to upgrade my hyperdrive yet, and this one came with a better hyperdrive already installed. But now here's the island. It still looks somewhat kind of sort of the same. I mean, the terrain is totally different. It's still mostly water, I guess, but just having to worry about toxic protection all the time. It doesn't look as pretty. If the update doesn't put us back on a better kind of planet again, I'm pretty much just gonna go off and find a new one. So, as you can see, oh geez, I'm still not used to being able to fly lower to the ground. I actually bounce off it a lot. I've done a little work on the base since we were here last. Not much. We have a dome now. We have a message sphere, which tells people to make themselves at home should they actually find my base. And when you go inside of my dome here, this is a hydroponic dome, and I was growing Nip Nip, which is basically space pot. Don't tell my mom. But now it's kind of hard to see because it's nighttime, but right there, I have a iridium deposit, and then over here, I have an iridium deposit. So for the next couple days, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hunker down just in case this planet becomes awesome again. I'm gonna mine the shit out of all the resources I can, and now that I have a landing pad over here, it is over here. Oh yeah, and I still have plutonium right by my base too, which is handy. Another thing you can do now, because you remember in the last episode I had to like run back to my ship. You can actually summon the ship right to you now, which is awesome. I don't know if that uses any of your fuel, but still. But now that this landing pad is clear, oh look, it's happening right now. So this guy can land at my base, and I can walk up and interact with him. I can buy his ship, or I can buy or sell things from him. So since I don't have enough materials yet to build a terminal in my base like we had on the space station that I sold everything to in episode 1, I got to sell everything to these guys for now. So that's what I'm going to do. For you guys, it's going to be about a second. For me, it's going to be a couple days. But yeah, we're going to get to the grind, and let's see what's up in this new update.
One eternity later.
Alright guys, so that first segment was actually like 2 or 3 weeks ago now, because the update came out with a ton of bugs, and not all of them are fixed, but I wanted to wait until at least a good majority of them were fixed to actually bring you guys a little bit more gameplay, and in that time, a lot has gone down. First things first, we're not on our planet anymore. The update did make it worse. It went from being a toxic environment to being a barren wasteland. The only reason I knew it was the same planet is because even though my base is currently in limbo right now because I have to restore it, but my exocraft was still there. I threw up this temporary shelter here just to kind of have a place to live. Yeah, it's my message pod. Not bad for a shed. Also, when you come outside, it tells you to rate your stay on Yelp. But this little shed here is built amongst the ruins of a crasher. And the other thing that's new and awesome is floating above it right here I totally got a freighter by complete accident. I didn't know it was a thing. I warped into the system and it was under attack, and when I saved it, the captain was like, yo, screw this, it's yours now. So, yeah, that's pretty sweet. I'm going to hop in my ship and fly up there in a second, but you can see here that there's actually a lot more like detail to the ship now, which is totally awesome. The new third-person perspective makes flying the ship totally awesome. I love it so much. I think I still prefer first-person for the on-foot sections, but as far as flying the ship goes, third-person is so much better. The other ships, the fleet, what you can do with them is you come talk to your navigator over here, and he will give you expeditions that you can send the ships out on, and then they're gone for like an hour or two real time, and they come back with some rare materials you can sell and potentially credits. So we're going to go ahead here. It looks like we're going to pick the balanced expedition because I tried to balance out my fleet. I have like one of every type of ship, well, almost every type of ship. We're going to assign ships to the expedition. If you don't recognize the names to most of these ships, then you're not a nerd. Seriously, especially Rocinante. If you're not watching The Expanse, you need to. One of the best sci-fi shows out right now. But I'm just going to pick all of them. You can have up to 5 ships per expedition. And you can see here you need 50 tons of fuel to be gone for this long for all your ships. I've already crafted that. So we're just going to hit launch expedition. They're all going to take off. And they're just going to farm money for me while we're off to the next thing. But anyway, that's about it for the freighters. You can send out your fleet on expeditions, and it's basically just storage past that. And you can build a base on there, but for some reason you can't build most of the base components on there right now. I don't know if that's intentional or one of the bugs, but because of that, basically I still need the base on the planet's surface. But what we're going to do now is check out the redesigned interior to the space stations. So right off the bat, you can see that they still kept the ramps on the sides, which ain't nobody got time for that. But as you can see here, it's been totally redesigned. Now it's a lot more open. There's actually NPCs kind of hovering around. Over here, you have mission pickup and drop-off points, and you also have your galactic terminal where you can sell stuff. And then over here, I don't know if this is supposed to be occupied, and in this particular space station it just isn't. And then over on this side, you have another little hangout room. This is where the only place so far that I've seen like other species, like the other Vy'Keen or Gek. And then you have another sail terminal over here. But on this side, you also have and obviously over there you have the portal too, which is no longer on the wall in the side room. It's right there. Also over here, you have merchants. So you have tool merchant, technology merchant, and this guy here will sell you exosuit upgrades. There's also, interestingly enough, an exosuit upgrade, inventory upgrade in every space station now. Also on that note, you can still find the drop pods, but using the drop pods doesn't cost you anything anymore. Now they're all damaged. So if you repair the drop pod, you get the inventory upgrade for free. One of the many things that they added was this guy here. This is a refiner. I have a bigger one on my ship, but it basically does the same thing. You basically have to fuel it with carbon or the red crystals, which are now condensed carbon. Basically, condensed carbon it takes less of it to completely fuel something. So that is cool. But once you fuel the thing with the refiner, there we go. Once you fuel that, you can throw stuff in there. Like I can throw in some copper, and if I run that through there, you can see the ratio right here is 2-to-1. So 250 copper will give me 125 of this chromatic metal, and it'll take 1 minute and 52 seconds to refine that. I'm not going to do that because I have enough chromatic metal. Chromatic metal is a very essential ingredient right now. It's a little convoluted, but now it's, I think, a little bit easier to make warp cells. Before you had to go through like an 8-step process to make antimatter so that you could make a warp cell out of that. Now you just need chromatic metal and I think one other thing to make antimatter. So you basically have to refine copper into chromatic metal, take that and then one other item to make antimatter, and then use ferrite dust, which is formerly iron, to make a canister for the warp cell, and you put those two together and you have a warp cell now. Another thing you can do with chromatic metal is you need it to build a base computer, and if I built a base computer right here, I would claim this plot of land as my base. You can now build anywhere, and the build limits have been greatly increased. I believe they implied there was no build limit, but they've also said that there is, it's just really, really big. The circumference of the build area seems to be a little bit larger, but where it really shines is the height. There's almost no height limit anymore, so I've seen people just make basically just spires that go straight up with a penthouse on the top, and they're really neat. But part of the reason we haven't played again for a couple weeks is because there was a lot of glitches, and since I have what they call a legacy save, I have been, and still am, locked out of some of the new content because there's something up with it, with legacy saves being able to access that new stuff. So as I fly back to the narwhal, that brings me to my next question. I've been thinking about going after a trophy that might be a little bit of a bitch. So I think I might still use this main save to show kind of like state of the game kind of reviews like the last 2 episodes have been. But I might do a mini series where I speed run through the permadeath mode. Permadeath mode, if you're not familiar, is an extreme survival mode where if you die, the game deletes your save and you have to start all over. Permadeath means permanent death. Basically, the season goes until I die, and then I'll take a break out from being frustrated and start up with Season 2. And basically, the season will last until I either make it to the center or die, whichever comes first. So if that's something that interests you, definitely leave a comment, let me know, like the video, yada, yada, yada. Also, let me know if you would like me to continue on with this kind of like state of the game type updates that I've been doing with the past episode and this one. But I think that's going to do it for right now. I have a lot of work to do. And unlike the year between episode 1 and 2, hopefully I'm back with episode 3 very, very soon. So anyway, that is all. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.